Previously on Live to Fish Outboard Repair.
Another customer dropped off this Bayliner. It's got an 85 horse force. Okay, so the contents of the kit are, we got 3 gasket sets, basically the 3 valve seat kits, actually a 4th one. They must have sent me one by mistake. Anyway, there's also this, I bought 1 needle just in case I needed it, so probably won't need it, but it's not a bad idea to have an extra one just in case one of the 3 are bad. And so anyway, it's included with, with this package. And okay, everybody, this is the 3-set carburetor for the 85 horse force. I believe it was a 1986 model. I did do a previous video on rebuilding this carburetor, these same carburetors. You can find that if you look up my other videos, you'll see it. I'm going to do it again. I don't think I was very clear on setting the float adjustments on it, so I'm going to go through that as well today when I do this. But I'm going to go through a cleaning and just see how they look, and we'll take them apart and start there. But I do want to go through the float adjustment on this a little bit more clearly so that you'll be able to see. So stay tuned. It's been about 3 hours. This is soaked for, so I'm going to pull it out of our parts cleaner and see how it looks. Yeah. Okay. A quick carb cleaner. The carburetor cleaner I also spray with. Okay. Typically use a bread tie to clean out the little holes that are in here as well. I don't know if you can see them or not, but down in there's like 4 or 5 of them, I think, or at least maybe four holes that I can see that are down in there that need to be cleaned out. So, and that's where the Welsh plug, at least that Welsh plug, if you can clean those out relatively well, then you don't have to really remove that Welsh plug usually. It is just hard to get in there. Here's one. There's 2. I think these were plugged pretty good. 3. Maybe there's only 3. I'm going to bend a right angle on it so I can get it in there good. Actually, there is 4. I thought I saw 4. Very tiny. This is all part of the idle circuit, so this might be the problem. Yeah, there's 4 definitely. So, I want to get them all. There's 1 big hole and then 3 little ones. There, I got them all. Now you can probably see them better. Get them cleaned out. Let's see. Yeah, 1 big hole and then 3 little ones. You can see them pretty good now. They're clean. So, just getting all the jets. There's 1 more right here. Okay. And this was actually carburetor number 3. So I'm going to actually put this back together again. See something here. The 074 jet goes. The 074 jet goes here, and that's what I have. 074. The other jet is the overflow. I think is an air breather jet for the bowl, and it's hard to read. 060, I think it is. 060. And that would go here. So just remember that the larger jet goes to the bottom of the carburetor, to where that would be the high-speed jet. So I gotta get it on the right angle. There it goes. Okay. Okay. Spring goes in, make sure it's there. Carburetor. Now. Now these gaskets are cork, and cork does not like ethanol. So hopefully the owner starts to run premium gas or recreational fuel, so that the cork gaskets don't end up like that. Because that's the original one, and they dry up and they crinkle up and they get useless, so they leak. So anyway, you don't want that. So now this float actually probably won't need any adjustments because it's made out of copper, and the adjustments would be either lift this tab or bend it down or push this tab in or out. I don't know if you're able to see this or not. Okay, but the adjustments on this are either to bend this tab up or down, and this one in or out. And what you're looking for when you're putting this together, this is an extreme case, but you don't want it down like this. You want it to be parallel to the bottom of the base, like that all the way around. So when you put this the pin back in and you put the spring back on, you want that to be parallel. And then when you drop it down, when you're in the operating position, you want this to come at an angle that is not touching the bottom of the bowl. So when it's resting in the bowl, resting in the normal position, you don't want that touching the bowl. You just want it to be at a slight angle. Typically, let me remove this. So the angle is probably going to be something like that, where it's probably just down near the bottom of this jet. So you're not all the way down like this, and it's hitting anything. You want to make sure. I don't know if you're in a picture. You want to make sure when it's in a resting position, like it's just about right about where that jet is. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to put this back together the way it was and see where the jet actually sits. Yeah, this is tricky. I guess if this were easy, everybody would do it. But a lot of people don't want to do this because it is tedious. But see, what I'm trying to do, what I'm attempting to do, is you've got to slip the needle, that little hook, over that, so it hangs like that. Okay, this is carburetor number 2. Spent about 3 hours in the solution.
Papa.
What?
Look how up my
You got another boo-boo.
Yeah. I just went up at Tambourine.
Oh, no.
And Mommy's at Mommy's house.
Mhm.
I see my eyes at the back of my...
Okay, well, I'll give you a kiss when I come up, okay? I'll kiss your boo-boo. Okay, I'm just going to clean out the ports for the these little openings again for the idle circuit. I'm going to blow that out a little bit. Okay, I felt air coming out of those holes, so it's good. Okay. adjusted right. Well, that looks okay, I think. That's a dry run. I haven't got the spring in put in yet.
Yeah, you recording?
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to say hi. I was watching John play. Love ya.
Me too.
Nice to meet you.
That's okay.
So you too.
You want me to edit that or
No,
not?
no, too. I know you're busy, so.
I think she's in it.
Alright, sorry.
I'll see you later. So that looks pretty good, I think. I think that's at the right height. It looks pretty level. The angle looks good. It's just above the jet that's going to go in here. So as long as it doesn't hit that jet, I'm good to go. The spring that goes in there is actually, from what I've read, it actually stabilizes that float when you're on the water that's kind of rough. So allows for consistency for that float to stay where it's supposed to. So that's what I've read. So that little spring is part of this. Gotta find it. Oh, I hope I didn't lose it. No, not yet. No. Is it still in the bag? Yeah, still in the bag. The little spring I'm talking about is this here. This is a carburetor float spring. And that goes on a certain way. I don't know if I can show this or not. Let's see if you're in the picture. Okay, you're not really in the picture on this, but let me see if I can do it right here. So that makes it a little easier to see. Now, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to put this spring in where this long end is on top. So it goes on top of the float, the bracket there like that. And then you grab the small end and you wind it so there's tension on it. And then you're slipping it back in. You're slipping the needle back in. You're grabbing your pin while you're holding tension on the spring. Actually, if you can see it, the spring is holding tension now right there. So the little armature of the spring, and then you slip that in all the way, and it provides tension to stabilize the float. And that's it. I just got to push that pin more in to secure it better, but that's it. And it looks like it's adjusted properly. I'm going to put the jet in and make sure that it doesn't hit the jet. So that's it. The float's in. We just got to put the jet in and make sure we get the right jet. That's the .060. We got the .074. So the .074 again goes here next to the float. Gotta get it started. Seem to be having trouble with these jets these days. There it goes. And the other one goes in here. That's strange. You got me at a certain angle. Otherwise it won't take. Okay, that's in. Now, Boy, had to really work that cork gasket in. That was tough. All right, this is number 1 carb and the final carb after cleaning. So all the carbs came out very nice, very clean. So yeah, listen to that. Okay. Little carb spring held up inside there, but I got it. All right. Let's see. Well, not a carb spray, but I got the jets anyway, so that should do it. And I think what I'll do is I'll do some brake cleaner just to clean off some of the gunk that's on there still. Yeah, a little bit left. Okay. Press the air and just blow this out. Just make sure these are clear, these holes. I think you can see them back there. They all look nice and clean. Put some compressed air in there one more time. Okay. That's an old one. Won't be using that or that. All right. All right. And again, it's the same procedure. So, again, the spring, just so you can see this, hopefully you can. The spring goes in where the large end is, large part of the spring is on top, and this little tab end comes around like this, and you hold it just like that. If you can, you got to hold it with your fingernail. Keep tension on it, and then you put the needle in position. It's almost there. Okay, it's in. Okay, if you can see it. The large part of the spring is up here. It's like the long arm of the spring. The spring is set inside where the pin goes through it, and then there's a little tag end right there. That's what I was holding up to keep spring tension on it until I can get the pin in to release it. And now it's got spring tension. So it's got that tension on there to where it stabilizes the float. And the float looks pretty good. It's level. It's level to the body. So there's no real adjustment on that. I think that was okay. And it doesn't touch come in contact with the jet. So we're in good shape. That angle looks pretty good to me. So, okay. Now, the way you test that, you blow in here while it's upside down like this. It should be closing the needle, and I can't get any air through it. So that means it's closed. When it's in the open state like this, and you blow, you can hear air. You can hear air come through. So that means the needle, as you can see, are working. So that's in good shape. All right, just got to put the new gasket on. Now, on the other one, the other two, I put this on first. I probably should have put this on first because I got to get this gasket underneath that little spring tab. But that really shouldn't be an issue. Actually, the gasket can go right over it. Position. Yep, that's all well and good. Yeah, that seems to be working fine. Okay, and now gasket. Gasket goes here. Bolt goes on top. Screw, bolt screw with new washer. Yep, gotta take that off. I've got the spring. There's a spring that goes in the middle. I just saw that. Getting ahead of myself. That goes in there. Okay. Looks all good. This is the needle, nice and clean. Again, we're going to go 1 1/4 turns from lightly seated. Yeah, it's got the spring on. I got to make sure that spring is on there. Okay, lightly seated. Let me do that again. Lightly seated. Half, 1 1/4. So half 1 1/4 turns. Now my last jet goes to the bowl. Just a strange angle. I think it's going in now. Yep. Okay. We're good. Okay. that carburetor's finished. Now all I gotta do is link all the carburetors together with this. And yeah, I cleaned that up pretty good. I did label it with a T for top, but I don't know if it really matters anyway, but we're gonna have to adjust all this anyway when we get it on the when we get it back on the motor. So I did not show on this video the new seats that I put in on these. I did that off camera because I've already done that on camera and it's very tedious, and you can look at another video and see how I did that. But moving forward, I wanted to try and get this done as quickly as I can. The owner is waiting for this, for this boat to get fixed. So, well, there's still some summer left, and so I want to get it done quickly, and so I left that off camera. But anyway, they got all new needles and seats in them. They all close up nice. They all work good. It should not be an issue. Excuse me. So anyway, stay tuned, and I'll reassemble all three together, and we'll put them back on the boat.
I'm just looking at the reeds right now. This is the top carburetor. I don't see anything here that looks abnormal. Let's go down to the next one. Let's see here. Okay, I can't see any problems. There's an upper and lower. How about the bottom one? Those reeds look fine. I was looking for a broken or gaps between the reed plates and the reeds. I don't see any gaps. So, no, there's no issue. Again, that's the second carburetor. And all the reeds are there, and no gaps. This is the top carburetor. And all the reeds seem fine. Okay, so I'm satisfied. The reeds look good. So we'll get the carburetors clean, installed, and fire it back up again.
Okay, I've got the carburetors all cleaned, all back together here. I'm going to leave the linkage off until I get this, the carburetors reinstalled back onto the motor. Because you've got to put these nuts on first on the one side, on this side, in order to get it secured to the motor. So I'll secure that first, and then once I get that bolted back on, I can secure the linkage with the little seat clamps, or the E-clips, whatever they're called. So anyway, stay tuned. We're going to get this back on the motor.
And it needed, I believe, a carburetor rebuild because it kept having stalling issues at idle. The owner didn't have any issues at full throttle, so he brought it to me, and he asked me my opinion. So I told him, I went through it. I thought it looked like it was having a carburetor idle problem. So that's what I thought, and that's what I'm going after. And so I'm going to rebuild. I've already rebuilt the carburetors. I'm just going to reinstall them here and then set the link and sync and go from there. Then we'll fire it up and see if it doesn't run any better. So I'm going to leave these right here. I got to get the gasket. There's like a varnish on here. It looks really bad. I just want to clean it up because I don't want to put the choke cylinder back together with it all nasty like this. It may not help at all its runnability, but it might. Who knows? At least the choke operation may work better. So, now, okay. I'm going to hook up the fuel line probably last. I just want to get this thing bolted on and then hook up the linkage. There was a lot of varnish buildup on the outside of the carburetor, so I gotta assume that the insides were bad too. They didn't look all that bad, but I'm thinking that those holes, those idle circuit holes, were all plugged up. Now, this is the second force I've videotaped, the 185 horse with Carburetor Rebuild, and when I did the link and sync on that last video, or another video with the other motor, I don't think I was very clear on what I did. So I'm going to try and emphasize the link and sync on this to show that a little bit better. Go into a little more detail on that. Right now I'm just bolting it back onto the intake. I took a look at all the reed valves and they look pretty good. I didn't see broken or no big gaps or anything like that. So I have to assume that the reed valves are working okay. A little bit on one side and then a little bit on this side, and then we'll torque them down. I also put new fuel lines on the carburetors because the ones that were there started to look pretty old. I didn't want to take any chances on having any air leaks. That's why I didn't use the existing original hoses. Those are nice and tight. And those are tight as well. Okay. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to try to get you in the picture here a little bit better. Too close there, might be better. I don't know if I can work on it on this angle a bit. The linkage has got to go in where these little pins go through, just like it came apart. And they go in, and then the C-clips are put on. Kind of like that. Actually, E-clips, I keep calling them C-clips, but they're E-clips because they got a little ear on them, which makes it look like an E. Let's see here. linkets too. That third one's a little harder because it's being blocked by the linkage itself. So I think you can see what I did there. I'm going to turn this to make it easier for me. Okay, that's all. Now, I'm going to try and focus on the linkage. This part here. There's a little notch right here. I hope you can see it, but there's a notch right here. And this notch is supposed to be aiming right at the center of this screw head. You know, basically bisecting it right down the middle of it at idle. And so that adjustment is right here, and that's part of this adjustment. So at idle, that's what you want, okay? So if you have to make this longer or shorter, depending on where this ends up, that's what you do with this. This armature here, okay, with it set, I haven't made any changes to these settings. And so basically, this is the throttle linkage. So when this is full throttle, you should be able to open up those butterflies in there all the way, completely open. And they should be just in the back here. These butterflies in the back of the carburetors should be basically the same horizontally in position, just like it is for the choke. So you don't want them open too far. You don't want to have them not open enough, because then you won't get full throttle capability. So when I open this, I just want to make sure that they all do open, and they do. So that looks like that armature is adjusted properly. Like I said, I never touched these adjustments. I just messed with this idle adjustment. This armature here, I just took it off. I didn't loosen it. I didn't adjust it. So, because it was set properly when I took it apart. So I'm just gonna take a look here. Because monkeying with this, I may have pushed it out of adjustment. Okay, I'm going to snap this back on. And that's basically dead on. I mean, now the idea is when I take this armature off of here on this side, I should be able to pop that off of there. There. Okay. When I take this armature, if this is adjusted properly, and I push this all the way open like this, it's supposed to throw those butterflies in there all the way open as well. And that's full throttle. So I need to look in there to make sure when this is at full throttle that those are open, in fact. And they are. At least the top ones are. Top one, middle. Yeah. They're all open the same amount, I think.
This bottom one might be a little actually over open.
But he said he wasn't having an issue at full throttle, so I'm inclined to leave it alone. I mean, I'd have to loosen up these screws and make that adjustment, but I think it isn't bad. It looks actually pretty good, so I'm going to leave it alone. Okay, I'm not going to change anything in the linkage. I want to see if there's any changes in the runnability of the engine with the exact same settings we had. So I'm going to leave that alone, and I'm going to fire this up the way it is. So we'll see. I got to add water to the barrel. I got to get the barrel in position. I got to tilt up the engine, and we'll get from there. I wonder if I can nudge that barrel back. Yeah, the barrel's holding it. Well, this is how we ran it last time, so I'm going to run it this time. Alright, fill it up, start there. I'm going to hook up my fuel supply to you. I know my fuel is new. It's been treated with stabilizer, and it's premium gas, and it's 50-to-1 ratio. So I'm not doubting that his is any good, but I just want to eliminate that as a source of a problem. And I also did it the first time I ran this engine in the original, in part 1 of this series, and the motor kept stalling out. So I just want to compare apples to apples here. Kind of do exactly what I did last time, run it with the same fuel. I know the owner told me that his fuel was clean and it was fresh, but I'm going to use mine. Got to attach the fuel line to the carburetors. I thought I heard them filling up, but they weren't. The fuel was not hooked up. All right, my mistake. This fuel line is a little short too. Probably. See any fuel spewing here, but it is coming out here, and I know that air cover catches fuel and it goes back into the bear down and it feeds it back into the bearings. It's intended to do that because of this, and it could be because of the angle of this motor I've got it on. So, well, let's try it again. Pull the spark plugs out. Maybe they're fine. No, they look pretty good. That one looks okay. See if I'm getting the spark again. I gotta check that. That one looked pretty dry. That one looks a little carbon up and it's wet. That one's a little wet. Now he was telling me these are brand new spark plugs. Well, that means that the stator or the switch boxes here are bad. Oh, unbelievable, unbelievable, unbelievable. Somehow we lost spark. And I didn't touch anything else, just the carburetors. This is fantastic. Well, that means I got to start checking into the stator, into the switch boxes, and see what the heck happened here.
Well, we've got a no spark condition now. Rebuilt the carburetors and tried to eliminate the stalling at idle. When the motor warmed up, I was thinking maybe the carburetors were the problem, but now looking at it, it appears that we may have a stator issue. I wouldn't suspect that both CDI units and all three coils went bad at the same time. That would be like winning the lottery. I did a resistance check on the stator and it is showing over 712 ohms. Basically, I just took a voltometer and I disconnected the stator at this junction here, or right here, the blue and the yellow wires, and got 712 ohms across that terminal. Now it's possible there could be a short to ground. Also the DVA, using the voltmeter and the DVA adapter, I haven't tried that yet, but what I did notice is that under the flywheel there appears to be some burnt wires under here. Now I'm not getting any spark, and I'm wondering if it's these wires. I don't know if they're chafed, burnt, or what. I just noticed this. I was trying to track down this wiring issue and seeing is, I don't know if that's just some sort of a sealer on there, oil, or if those wires are burned. I can't tell. But those, I believe, are the stator wires. And going to the pack, coming around, coming to the charge coils and the ignition coils and the CDI packs here. But
That looks fishy to me. So I'm wondering if this is what's causing some of that stalling issues. I don't know, but no, I didn't see this earlier because it's way under the it's under the flywheel. And I'm just wondering if those wires are actually burnt. I checked the resistance on the stator, and the stator's showing about 715 ohms of resistance. I think 680 to 800 ohms is acceptable. But then I've read also that they can check out okay and still be bad. So it's hard to say. But I'm not getting any spark in this engine, and I don't know why. It had spark. It looked kind of weak, but it was sparking and it was running. So my thoughts were that the carburetors needed rebuilt, and when I did that and put them back on, I got no spark now, and I don't know what's going on. So it's possible that stator failed up in there. I can't tell. I don't see any other signs other than the wiring, but yeah, it's very possible that it failed. So that might be something we need to replace. So I'm going to have to call the owner. Okay, I just took the panel off here where the coils and the two switch boxes reside. And looking at these wires, you can see these have been repaired. I'm pretty sure either these two wires or these back here. These back here probably are more likely the suspect because they've been coated with some sort of a insulating material, like maybe like a liquid electrical tape type material. That's what this is, and there's exposed wires there. If you look closely, you can see them. See the copper there. So I'm going to do some resistance checks, but I think this is the problem. I think these wires back here have been exposed or bare, and we're losing signal from the switch box, or to the switch box, probably maybe not from the stator, but from the trigger. Looks to me like these wires actually go to the trigger, so I'm going to do some more investigation with an ohm meter and see what I find out. So stay tuned. Okay, we take a closer look. You can actually see that these wires are skinned, and some of them are even flattened out. Now, I don't know. I believe these are the trigger wires. They go up inside. They do not connect to the stator. It looks like they connect to the trigger. And even these two wires had tape on them, exposing them. They've been flattened, and of course they're exposed. So I'm going to pop off the flywheel and see what I see. I'm going to probably take the trigger off, maybe do some resistance checks on a bench, try to isolate it and see what kind of numbers I get and compare to the CDI Electronics website. So take the standby. Okay, this is the trigger off the 85 horse. As I said before, I noticed that there are some wires that were frayed. They're not broken, but they are definitely exposed, and this can cause shorts to ground. It can cause all kinds of problems. So these two wires here are probably the worst. You got a red wire here, or orange wire, I'm sorry. Red is next to it. The orange wire and the white with the green stripe wire. Now when I check the ohms, following that lead, the white and green wire and the red wire have the appropriate ohms. It was supposed to be 48 to 52 ohms across these probes, and I did indeed get that. Checking the other wire, the red and the green wire, or I'm sorry, the orange and the green wire. When you check it on this particular, this is if you look on the back, you can see you've got 1, 2, and 3 cylinders. So 1, 3, 4, and then I believe the other one is 2. It might be hard to see that, but there's one under there that's a green. 2 is orange, 3 is orange, and 4 is green. So again, 1 is green. You're supposed to go green to orange. So 1 to 2 is good at 52 ohms.
Okay, YouTube. Basically, after fixing those wires in the trigger and the stator that were down under the flywheel, I think they were grounding out, causing a problem with spark, because I did lose spark. Even though it was running, I rebuilt the carburetors, and then I couldn't get spark. So let's fire it up and see. You'll see the spark, and you'll see her run if it's going to run. We're going to have my trigger set up, and we'll find out. All right, that's what I was hoping for. It's on low idle too. I didn't even choke it. Just started right up. You can see that spark in all 3 cylinders. All firing. Good sight. I'm very happy. I'm going to let the owner know. There's all those wires under that flywheel. I had to pull the flywheel off, I pulled the stator off, pulled the trigger off, repaired the wires, put it all back together, and now it seems to be working. I'm going to let it run for a bit. It's on low idle. I might have to adjust the carburetors just a little bit. I got them set at factory. I think it's 1 1/4 turns out. Let's see. I pull this lever. I might have to back it up a little bit and then move forward. Then you can give it throttle. Got it at high idle. That's warm up. This done. So I'm going to contact the owner, we'll film the video, and I hope he's happy. So got nice clean carburetors. The wiring was the problem. We thought we might have to buy a new stator. I was thinking maybe even a trigger with the wires. The wires that were really bad were on the trigger. But it didn't make sense to me that everything just went out spark-wise, but it must have been shorting the ground, and it just wouldn't allow the switch boxes to work. So anyway, that's what I'm going to tell him, and that's what I believe happened. So thanks for watching. Hope this helped somebody. Make sure your wires, because the wires weren't burnt, they were actually worn from the movement of the trigger. They were from the movement of the trigger, and had worn bare spots in them. Somebody had tried to fix that with maybe liquid electrical tape or some other kind of material they painted over the wires, but they eventually got exposed. I think they were grounding to the block. So I took them off, I wrapped them in real electrical tape, and they're insulated now. So that's the fix. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, give me a thumbs up. Thanks, YouTube. See you again. Okay, so I got it in gear. It's running forward gear on the fuel from the boat itself. So I've disconnected my fuel tank. It seems to be running okay. It's a little rough, but I think it's possible. When I did the ohms check on each of those coils, I had gotten like 2,200 ohms on the top one, and I think it's supposed to be like 150 ohms. It's not supposed to be that much, so it's possible that top coil could be giving him a little problem. But it is running, it hasn't stalled yet, and it is in gear. So the water pump is working well, you can see it. I had to take off the back cowling here. I dropped the part down inside and I had to get it out of there. That's why I took that off. I'll put that back on, and in the meantime, it seems to be running okay. It's running again. He doesn't have to buy a stator or a trigger, and got it working. Just stick some wires on the stator and the trigger, and it seems to start right up. So, all right, well, I'm going to pull it out of gear. Back to idle. Got to give it a little throttle. We're going to have to weight test this to be more thorough, but I think we're in good shape. So he's going to make some time for us to go out on the water with it and give it full throttle and see what we got. And so stay tuned for that, and we'll add that to the video, and we'll complete this series. So thanks for watching. you're going from neutral to forward gear. What? Oh, it fell off. It's yeah. I think that's, I don't know. Never saw that. Could be. It could be. It could be. Don't you now just shift, just pull up on the lock, not that, just the lock and push it forward gear.
Am I
Yes.
okay, no.
It's locked in the detent. That's neutral. That's locked in the detent. There you go. Now you're in gear. That's only for warm up. When you pull it out and detent it forward, that's only warm up. Yep, same way. Just, yep. And you had no problem before. Seems better. You gotta warm up. I mean, these aren't like fuel injection where you start them and you just go. You gotta let them warm up 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then once they're warm, they're hot, they're normal operating temperature, then things tend to run better. You know? I mean, 2 strokes are a little more finicky. You know, 4 strokes are expensive and they're great motors. They're really heavy and they cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
These are gonna get a lot of fun to lose, and they got more horsepower to weight ratio than any force, at least for now.
Well, again, I don't mind waiting at the dock to warm up a bit.
Yeah, you should. Or you can take it out, let it warm up out for you. Well, you gotta let it warm up before trying to put it in gear. You really do. You want that heat generated because the engines don't run right until they're warmed up.
Okay. I mean, things that now you think that
Yeah, you can try it. You can shut it off, let it cool down. We can start a cold start and see what happens. And once it's warmed up, before it was warm and it was dying in my driving. I'd get it warm and then it would run it down. So, and that could